All right, guys, welcome to Wide Awake News Radio. I'm your host, Charlie McGrath, 19th day of February, Tuesday, joined, of course, on this Tuesday, hour number one, with Eric Lovely. For those of you wondering, that new intro song is Some Nights by Fun. And, I heard it a couple times, and some of the, the lyrics in it, what are we waiting for? What do we stand for? Don't want to believe the hype, save it for the black and white. I mean, it really hit me. I don't know if that was the intention of the group when they came up with the song, but some of those lyrics really hit me. So that is our new intro after a couple years of Linkin Park being on there. I have switched gears, and I kind of threw Gary off of that last night, so I apologize about that. 52 people is how many we have in the chat room right now. If you want to join them, wideawakenews.com. Click on the radio microphone on the right-hand side. That'll take you right into chat. We have some folks watching us do this live. If you want to join them, you can access the Justin TV feed in the chat room. And like I said, hour number one is my friend Eric Lovely. Hour number two is my friend Adrian Salbuche. He will be joining us from Argentina. Lots and lots of stuff going on in Argentina, in South America. Not to mention the Falklands are coming back into play once again. But we'll save that for the second hour. Eric Lovely, welcome back. Thank you very much for joining me. There's this. Remember me talking with you a few weeks back, maybe even a month or so back, about this kind of fog, this post-election fog, especially after we kicked the can down the road with the debt ceiling to March 1st, as well as the fiscal cliff was put on hold. Sequester is scheduled to begin March 1st. And everybody, and I mean everybody, and this probably is an indicator that it's not going to happen, but when you have Alan Greenspan coming out talking about he's worried about how the stock market is going to respond to the sequester, but he definitely thinks it's going to happen. There's no getting along in D.C. on this event. This pivotal day, this March 1st date. Now, and I know we had a guest on last night, and I have a lot of respect for him, and he doesn't think that, he's thinking there's a lot of hype behind it. And maybe that's true. But I truly believe that, Eric, there needs to be a trigger event. And I'm not saying that it's not man-made trigger event. In fact, I'm saying exactly the opposite. I do believe an intentional trigger event to usher in, the plan, the agenda. When we look at some of the statements made today by Lars Seer Christensen, he's the co-chief executive officer of Danish bank Saxo Bank. He's talking in the European debt crisis. Remember, this was all the buzz this time last year. Then it went away right before the election and kind of just stayed in this, everything's going to be fine mode for a while. Well, he's coming out today saying that everything is not fine. In fact, the whole thing is doomed, he said today. He would be the biggest seller of the euro if it got back to the 140 handle again. Another possibility of fallout is getting rid of some of the countries that are being ruined by holding the euro, notably the southern European economies. Nothing is fixed in Europe. In fact, it's far worse than it was even at this time last year. Nothing is fixed with our debt crisis here. It's far worse than it was this time last year. There is no sound solution except having a trigger event. I mean, this is how I see this playing out. Eric, we have a trigger event. We are all told that there was no way to avoid this. It was unseen, and we all played the finger-pointing game, right? America points at Europe, Europe points at the Middle East points at America. And the realization is that our monetary system has blown up out of control. The debt system is blown up out of control. We are going to be offered a solution that will ensure the enslavement of everybody. And I could say everybody but the elite, but that number is so small that it's a rounding error. So everybody is going to suffer. I believe this event is before us. Eric, I put out a video last night kind of on that same topic line. Of course, I've caught some flack over that video, and I want to thank everybody who jumped on the commenters who were saying, this system's never going to fail. America is the greatest country ever, blah, blah, blah. The dollar's the strongest currency ever. It's not going to be replaced. It's never going down. for you guys that took the time to educate some of those trolls. I appreciate that. But this system isn't going to last forever. I don't think it was meant to last forever. I think they knew full well when they began bailouts in 2008, and they decided to put the pedal to the metal on creating debt, not money, debt. They understood that it was going to hit a tipping point, and when it did, this tipping point was going to be spilled on to the people of this country and the world. Eric Lovely, I see you're trying to send me video. It ain't working yet, but keep trying, brother. Eric, do I have you? Yeah, you're on mute, buddy.
That was rather long and definitely quite a buildup. But I don't know if I could say that this particular event is the event that's going to take place, and that's because this event it's overshadowing other events that are taking place. That I think that you're right that it's a slow churn, and what is falling apart and what is taking place behind the scenes with many of the large conglomerate merchandise stores, box stores, retail stores, whatever you call them.
Sure.
There were a lot of floater loans that was given to them. Okay, well, they were called upon, and they couldn't meet them.
Right.
So the thing that they had to do was liquidate, okay, and liquidate stores, liquidate jobs, liquidate whatever they can to pay that bounty. Whether this is the actual straw event, and that's the reason why I want to call it that, is because this is going to be a straw that breaks the camel back kind of situation. It's going to be a bunch of little straws, death by a thousand cuts. And whether or not I don't think that when these triggers kick in, if they're going to be the end all be all that causes it all to happen. However, with the continual rise in the gas prices and the transportation prices, even as the gas prices fell, I thought it was rather interesting. They rated inflation at 0.056, which was an increase over the time period as gas was falling. So prices on items rose almost 1%, while the price of gas dipped about 60 cents. Well, now the price is going back up 60 cents. So the inflation is going to continue to grow. It's going to continue to expand. We're going to continue to print. I don't know if these automatics that are getting ready to come, that everyone thinks is going to make everything come unglued. I think it's a dog and pony show for you to not watch the job markets, for you to not watch what's going on, because the next round of implosion, job losses, and I think it's going to be massive job losses, is on the way. You can't lose nearly 4,000 retail stores, okay, across the United States of America. You can't put those people back to work in other places. They're already saturated. Okay, they've reached the point of saturation, so they're having to withdraw because the market is oversaturated. They're spending too much money to make what little bit of money they are, and they can't keep their capital loans paid off, and they can't keep them up, so they have to shrink. Now, this deflationary process in the jobs market is going to cause the inflationary process in the economic market, or in the actual real tangible phony fiat dollars. It is an interesting predicament. It is an interesting predicament, though, for people, the different people you now see coming out and saying, well, this is going to happen. They're just going ahead and telling you, look, these bad things are going to happen. We're real sorry. We're going to brace and see how the market's going to react, but everybody else is SOL. There's no big television story about how we're going to fight it down to the last hour, and we're going to try and do some bipartisan wondership and this and that and another. Now they're just telling you, hey, it's all broke down, and everything's going to fall apart. Sorry, too bad, too sad. We're going to go golfing with Tiger Woods. So, you know what I mean? This is really the situation that you're looking at, and which is the reason why those two particular topics you asked me if I really wanted to talk about actually are important today.
Wait a minute. I want to hear about him, but we're going to take this break. We're going to take this first break. We'll be back with Eric Lovely and a couple shocking topics that you might not expect from Eric Lovely. We'll be right back. Hang tight. All right, guys, welcome back to Wide Awake News Radio. Charlie McGrath joined with Eric Lovely on the 19th of February, Tuesday. And we were talking off air about this auto spamming that has been linked back now to Bank of America. Eric told me this story. I hadn't heard that one, but I had one of you guys send me a story about a brigade of administration lackeys who are going around trying to discredit anybody and everybody that says anything disparaging towards this administration or bankers or anything that's status quo. If you happen to be in the chat room now and you sent me that, put that link back in there. I'm trying to remember what email you sent it to. I couldn't remember if it was through the website or if it was to directly at info@wideawakenews.com. They go to two different places, but I don't have it pulled up here to quote that exactly. But Eric, tell us a little bit about, and we'll get into the guano and fish story in the long segment, but tell us, what is this with BOA and how how this spamming mission has been linked back to them?
Well, I mean, people who want to research it, and everybody's going to want to verify everything that's possible. But most people know Sergeant Bull's report or the SGT report, which is on YouTube, and a lot of us have been throwing around the conspiracy theory. Okay, we knew that that there was a story where people linked that said that the government, large corporations, things of that nature, were now paying people to create ghost accounts and/or programs who would create ghost internet IDs, and then they would take those fictional ghost accounts and bombard sites and things of that nature. Now, when this originally came out, people didn't understand how it was going to work. But if you look at Google Chrome and you look at the new extensions of Internet Explorer and how the algorithm actually searches now, and the alterations that's been made to the algorithm search engine, you will see that negative hits and negative information and feedback on a particular website continues to do a more increased job of removing you from the top end of searches and things of that nature. So basically what they're doing is they're using these ghost, what I call them is bot people. They just, it's sometimes there's an individual that actually manually operates it. Sometimes it's an actual program that manages 10 to 20 IDs at a time, or personas. In other words, they imitate 20 people at one time, and they bombard your site with negative activity, negative comments, a lot of flaming, a lot of rigmarole, and it drives, and it really starts to make other people look at you as discredited, because it drives down your, how you ping and respond within the algorithm. Well, SGT report has actually put forth the legwork, and this is, what he says. I encourage people to go watch his video. Because he's encouraging people to call Bank of America and ask them, what their deal is. And basically what happened is he received tens of thousands of negative hits and comments to his page with a specific security program that was being run on his website. He actually monitored and registers all of the IPs. And he says somewhere in the neighborhood of 80, I would say 80 plus thousand hits from Bank of America, all being routed back to the owners of the IP as being Bank of America. So these are the type of things that you're seeing unfold. I encourage everybody to look. Those who own websites, look and get on the horn, send them an email, ask them to provide the same software to you or where you can purchase it, and see what's going on. If they're real people, if they're not. I don't know how you can block them, because they come across as real people. It's a terminal that's actually pinging your site and leaving comments and things that are derogatory. There are very in-depth ones now that, as you do the research, that will actually read your page, and it will make an assessment of what you believe by keywords and phrases on your web page, and then it will make posts in a derogatory response to those things. Okay, and it has a set of phrases that are developed to be plugged in. So if you say the word, government and evil and bomb within, seven words of each other in a sentence, it then allocates a specific response to be applied to your page that will, call you a bloody loving terrorist, fruitcake,
right,
nutbag.
Well, and we talked about on this program over the last 2 years the expanded list of Homeland Security phrases that they monitor. Everything that's said, every key that is struck is recorded. Let's get that straight right now. Everything is going through some kind of a filter, and Department of Homeland Security, they have admitted, and the lists have been made public on their through their own documentation, the words that they're watching for, and it's everything from DHS, the word DHS itself, or the letters DHS himself, to terror, to bomb, to threat, to a pandemic, to you name it. There's hundreds of words that they have set aside to quarantine anybody who's using this kind of language. And then they, if so many of these hits happen, yeah, you get a red flag, and next thing you know, who knows? You're either on a list, or maybe they're sending these spamming brigade after.
Kind of the funny part is the people that still don't believe or they don't care about it, and you look at them right square up in the face, and you be like, okay, what do you think they spent $31 billion in Utah building a ginormous fusion center that doesn't house any human beings, just stacks and stacks of hard drives? Yeah. I mean, what did you think they spent all that money for? What did you, it is so amusing to look at people with that blank stare back and going, they did what? That's not going to be a problem. Oh yeah, they're just helping traffic information. And it's like, you have to be insane to believe these things.
No doubt about it. And you know what? Then color me insane, because this is real. It's happening. There's multiple stories we can talk about. I've got pulled up here of DHS clamping down. This thing we've talked about, free exchange of information and ideas, is dangerous. It's dangerous to the powers that be that we're not glued to a television. We're going to be right back with Eric Lovely, more Wide Awake News Radio. Hang tight. I swear we're going to get to the bat, guano, and fish stories in just a minute, but I want to read these two paragraphs first and then comment on them and get Eric's take on them, which I don't think I think I'm pretty sure I know what he's going to say about it. According to the White House blog website, the Obama administration is working to counter online radicalization by violent extremist groups such as Al-Qaeda and its affiliates and adherents, violent supremacist groups, and violent sovereign citizens. The White House claims that these groups use the internet to disseminate propaganda, identify and group potential recruits, and supplement their real-world recruitment with resources to propagate messages of violence and division. Through the exploitation of popular media, music videos, online games, allegedly there are countless opportunities to draw targets into private exchange and provide violent extremists with access to new audiences and instruments of radicalization. All right, let's break this down for a minute and see where the White House could have gotten this playbook, right? They're talking about going online, going to certain specific sites, fomenting hate, drawing people into an agenda of radicalization, and then giving them the opportunity to take these plans that are hatched online to fruition. What does that sound like, Eric?
Well, to me, it sounds like five idiots that tried to blow up a bridge. It sounds like the three morons who were trying to drive back into New York City and blow something else up. It sounds like the same basic story.
The insane individual in Oakland a week ago that was charged with trying to blow up I believe it was a Bank of America because he was caught up in a radicalization effort by the FBI. There you go. Another keyword that's going to get stuck in the fusion center's craw tonight is FBI, DHS, all these ones we've spouted out in the last half hour. This is unbelievable. This is unbelievable. The exact same things that they are doing to stage fake terror so that we will believe that we must have a liberty-destroying Department of Homeland Security, that we must have a build-out of the blue shirts, and we must have checkpoints, and we must have Viper teams. We must have all this stuff because we're in constant threat. The same process they claim we're out here radicalizing people, they're taking it right out of their own playbook. It is unreal. It's unbelievable.
Well, I mean, I think the funny thing about radicalization is what it means to go through the process of radicalization to create radicals. Now, basically, radicals are those who are outside of the norm. They're different than the average normal mental scope of human being. Now, when you think about that truly, now if you stop and actually think in the mirror and say, okay, what does basically every human being can agree on? Well, they want to be free and independent. They want to have their own stuff. They don't want people to take their stuff, and on and on and on. So, really, the radical is the one who believes in big government. The radical is the one who believes in in actual conforming and groupthink and Marxism. They are the actual true radical. I mean, it is just funny how these people play and they twist word games. They manipulate the English language. They're always doing something,
Hmm.
and it generally means the exact opposite. What they're really saying, whenever they say radicals, people should be hearing on the other end. Watch out for the normal people. Watch out
Yeah,
for the
no.
people who are normal because they're going to try and get you to stop us. Is what they're really saying. Is that the normal people are getting fed up and we got to watch out for them. The normal people are slowly coming to awake and slowly coming to their feet. When we talk about this is the reason why I know that this is undoubtedly going to happen. Okay, there's no way to avoid the collapse scenario. There's no way to avoid the implosion of society, which is the reason why most people ask me about solutions. People ask me about problems. Look, the reason why you've heard us several times now talk about fish and bat guano. Okay,
Here we
well,
go.
there's something else. There's
Make
something
sure you
else
hit
I'd like to
record,
talk about.
Gary.
Salt. Okay, salt is going to be worth its weight in gold. Okay, any type of sodium. Okay, because when the trucks stop working, when things stop flowing from one side of the world to the other, if you don't have a source of salt, you are going to die. Okay, salt is going to be in some portions of this country more expensive than gold itself. Okay, this is a realization. People can stop arguing with me. Go pick up a biology book and see how much salt and sodium your body needs. Then go figure out how you get salt. Okay, you can't grow salt. This
It's a rock.
thing doesn't work. Yeah, it's actually a mineral that comes out of the ground
It's the
that you
only rock
find
we
and
consume.
extract.
It's the only rock as
Yeah.
human beings that we consume, and if the largest sources of it are under the Great Lakes in the country anyway, are under the Great Lakes. That I mean, they're huge, huge, vast reserves of salt, and we're not in any danger of running out of it. However, Eric, I didn't know you were going here, but I agree with you. I'm a history buff, and during the Klondike Gold Rush, guess what? Salt was as valuable as gold
Oh
because
yeah.
your body used to buy without it.
Believe it or not, it traded at a parabolic rate for some time. 1 ounce of salt for 1 ounce of gold. I mean, it was really quite an interesting time because no one shipped it there at the time. But there's a lot of logistics. But you need to figure out what you're going to do about your salt problem. Okay, and self-sufficient. This is the reason why the people in the cities, and I tell you that you're going to have such a difficult time in making it. Okay, because as long as you have dirt and you're willing to do the work. Okay, and if you take the dirt, they're easy many ways. You can even make a radioactive water filter. Okay, out of charcoal, rock, cellulose filters, and a 5-gallon bucket to purify your water so that you can use it to grow in. And you can do the same thing with soil and things of that nature. Now, the big thing that the reason why I want to talk about fish and bat guano is for the people who are attempting to make it on their own. There are reasons why soil, okay, normal growth periods, and there's difficulties with repeating cycles of the same plant matter being grown and only being able to provide yourself X amount of crops and holding on to it and your yields and production. This is where the fish comes in. The fish would be the first tier. One, let me tell you, if you have a fish habitat, you do not want to fish the spawning area or what I would like to call the massive feed portion, wherever the most amount of food is for that fish to eat. You do not want to go there. You want to leave it alone, make it untouchable so that the spawn rate stays high and your population stays high, and do not overfish for the love of God. Now, the reason why fish, it doesn't matter what kind of fish you have, okay, because it's not for you to eat. The idea of the fish is to take home, chop them up, guts, eyeballs, and all, and put them into your compost pile. Okay? Because you will not be able to buy nitrogen supplements. You will not be able to inject or what's called power nitrogenate your soil. And this is going to give you larger plants, higher yields, things of that nature. Okay? But fish is just a very basic version. Yeah, of a much bigger and much better thing. See, this is what fish can be used for in your mulching and making your actual topsoils, so that you can reuse certain patches of land multiple years in a row because you're pumping the nutrients back into it. Fish is like, you're talking old world Indian stuff. Okay, this is a reality. The very best thing you can do, however, build them, buy them, whatever you need to do. You want to get a bat box. And what bat boxes are is it's a two-story box where the bat, like a birdhouse, can enter through the bottom. He goes up into the top, dark perch, and he will sleep and he will defecate and so on and so forth. At the bottom, it will have a trap that will catch all of this bat guano. Okay? If you want super soil, if you have bats in your area, promote the growth of nighttime insects, impact your ecosystem. By promoting the growth of nighttime insects and these special bat boxes, you can bring the bats into your territory, okay? And then now you will be collecting all of this super potent bat guano, and it has two different forms of fertilizer. It has massive amounts of nitrogen in it, and you just mix this right into your soil so that you will be able to continue to grow crops, because you're going to want to maximize your yields every single season for you, your family, your neighbors, for trade, for whatever it is you need, because it's better to have too much than not enough.
Great advice, Eric. Unfortunately, you mentioned fertilizer, and I do believe that will be on a watch list and end up in the craw of the Fusion Center tonight as well. We're going to be back with Eric Lovely. More Wide Awake News Radio. Hang tight. All right, guys, welcome back to Wide Awake News Radio. Charlie McGrath joined by Eric Lovely on this Tuesday, 19th of February. And during the break, I told Eric, we really covered the spectrum in that last segment. Started out with government propaganda. Got a little beep going on in my ear here. Is that you, Eric?
Yeah, that's me. It's okay.
Any sudden noise now, and I think it's the man at the door coming to question me about my affiliation with one Eric Lovely. Anyway, I told Eric.
Okay. You can just tell him where I'm at. It really isn't going to matter.
I have no idea where you're at, bro. You're in a deep, hidden location, secure.
I'm in a box canyon.
I don't know where he's at. He's somewhere, not here.
But we really did. We really did go over a whole entire gamut of things.
Well, and I want to tell everybody what you said to me, because it's right on the money. And I kind of want to explain that a little bit. That, Eric said, and I think by what Eric's been bringing to the program as of late, it kind of bears this out. He's trying to insert a little bit of we do cover the events of the day, political, economic, geopolitical, you name it, and we talk about them nonstop. And it is good to get these helpful hints or things that other people are doing to truly take advantage of the time that we have, the time that where these basic necessity items are still accessible, A, and affordable, kind of, B, because if we truly believe the things that we're talking about, and I wholeheartedly do, this time is a golden opportunity to take advantage of the things I just mentioned and get yourself and your family prepared for what might be coming, and I truly believe is coming, Eric.
Well, yeah, and everybody talks about gold. I talk about gold and silver. You talk about gold and silver. For the poor people who don't have gold and silver, who aren't going to be able to achieve even buying some silver, or maybe one little plug piece of silver, okay? Well, take half of the money you would spend for an ounce of silver and go out and buy salt. If you live in an area where you don't have a salt mine, the nearest salt production is, 100 miles away. Okay, in other words, too far for horse and carriage to be managing the transport thereof. If you have problems with getting your hands on salt and you want to store up some wealth, or getting your hands on a lot of money and you want to store up some wealth, you can purchase salt at a relatively decent price now and stack your shelves with it. Just stack your shelves with it. And when you don't have food or whatever it is that you couldn't afford to get enough of, you can trade salt, because let me tell you, people are going to die without salt. People in your area are not going to get to the salt demand that they need, and they will trade for it Because see, it's all in the worth of what someone will pay for it. And that's what people really need to understand. Right now, salt is in everything. Every piece of boxed good, every piece of crap thing that's on the shelf, they have it bombarded with sodium and bombarded with salt. There's salt in everything. You have salt in your drinks, salt in your food, salt in your underwear. You just got salt everywhere. Okay?
No, I
But
don't.
when the
Wait a minute.
salt
Not
spigot,
everywhere.
but when the salt spigot is turned off, salt is instantaneously going to become a very, very, very lucrative commodity to hold. Okay? The same as alcohol, the same as your luxury commodities like cigarettes, things of these nature. But salt is something that a poor man like myself can go down to the store and buy a 10-pound bag of salt, and get it for six, seven, eight, $10, which is cheaper than an ounce of silver, but you have pounds of salt. Okay, and people should be learning what the beneficial salt intake is for the day. How to, if you're going out on maneuvers, okay, the military guys need to start educating other people on salt tablets. And when you start moving and you start being on maneuvers, how much you need to increase your salt to mitigate your water loss over longer periods of time, over longer distances that you have to hump, over longer periods of days that you need to fight. Okay, these are, people have no idea. And the Romans said, I have built my army on a pillar of salt. Okay, you need to go back and understand that the reason why the Romans could do the things that they did is they had such a massive salt supply and such a massive supply chain to feed their men on the front line salt so they could continue to liquidate, hydrate, and fight. This is the reason why they overran the barbarians and they overran other people, is because no one had the kind of salt resources that the Roman Empire had. And it's something you really need to look at, and you really need to understand how salt affects your life. And the bat guano and the nitrogen and things, all the time that you're thinking about how the economy is falling apart, we're really telling you these things as a marker, saying, okay, each day it gets a little worse. Each day we're throwing the signs up at you. And why is that? Because you're supposed to be doing something with those hours, with those minutes that you have, stockpiling, preparing, getting your house in order, getting your physical body in order, doing whatever it is that you need to do to make sure you have the best possible chance of living into the future and making a difference in the grand scope of things. So you need knowledge and information, and you need resources, supplies, and training at the same time. We have to really, as a whole group, there are a lot of commentaries out there that are doing a wonderful job on all the different networks and all the different individuals. And Charlie, you do a phenomenal job. But you have to also put as much energy into the informing and waking up as you do talking about real world applications of solutions. What are you going to do if you have difficulty growing food, if you have low yields? These are the questions you need to be asking. Well, you're going to need to create your own organic fertilizer. What are the best ingredients to put into regular soil that takes the least amount of ingredients put in to create high quality, high nitrogenated soil? Well,
Yeah.
you can get to the two best today, fish and bat guano. Okay, there are ways of enticing them into the trees and forest around your homes, and there's ways of easily collecting this crap.
No
No
doubt.
pun
And crap, I get it. I get your pun. And I agree. I mean, it is important, and it's what I've said for some time, is that I'm not going to teach somebody how to, build a hang glider out of willow branches or something like that. But there are plenty of people in this community that can help with preparation and can help with these things of which you speak. And it is important that we don't just listen to the things that are coming, but take action. There's people would probably be amazed at the different things that I've done over the last couple of years to position myself in a place of to give myself some kind of a foundation, because I just don't talk about these things. I don't talk about firearms. I don't talk about training that I've had. I don't talk about the most I've ever let on to any of this was that video I did with my brother where we practice a drill. I don't know if you saw that one, Eric, where we practice.
Yeah, a couple guys in the motor pool playing soldier.
Okay, I don't know about all that. That coming from a sailor, I'm not sure how insulted I am. by that, but I'll let it go. It's fine. I'll let this one slide.
But yeah, it really is. And, some people, everybody has their own avenue. I think that the way, that you continue to do it and hope you do more of it in the future is you'll bring on a half-hour spot with someone who is versed in that information or who will, spend an hour talking about those kinds of things, different food preps, different people who supply different things. This is, another major thing. If you're looking for bone density, if you're looking for bone longevity, you can actually, whenever you hunt and trap your animals, keep all of their livers, okay? Take the livers and smoke them. Smoke the livers until they are smoked all the way through, then chop them and grind them up and let them dry until it turns into a powder. And then serve yourself, a half a teaspoon of that every day to get.
Or can I just eat the liver?
Well, you could, but not everybody likes liver, and the powder is easier to choke down for those who don't like the taste or the texture of liver. We also, my neighbor and a good friend of mine.
Wait a minute! Whoa! Smoking livers is on the DHS watch list. Good job, Eric. You're out there smoking livers.
But that's really, these are really things you need to think about. There are certain parts of the animal, and the reason why, if you take D3, which you get from the sun, okay, D3 has an activator, and all genetic scientists are now talking about it. That activator is vitamin K. Now, they have also told us there are two versions. The supercharger for vitamin D3, which causes immune system growth. In other words, it gives you an impeccable immune system. It gives you twice the bone density. It slows down osteoporosis in aging women, and so on and so forth. Well, the key ingredient is vitamin K12, which is the new version that they found, is only found in the livers of all red meat animals and in that of most poultry. And, so you can get deer liver, goat liver, cow liver. You can take all of these livers, either consume them directly. If you smoke them, you will lose less of the vitamin when you consume it into your body. If you smoke it, dry it, and turn it into a powder, you can actually put it in capsules, like my neighbor Dan Halley is really looking at, and you can consume those every day. You see, these are things that I have the knowledge to be able to tell you, but I overlook them because I'm talking about so many other things all the time, and I wanted to make sure that
why aren't you putting? I mean, you should be putting. I'm not trying to dominate your time, but putting out 15-minute videos on these things.
Well, that's because there's a lot of homesteading and whatnot to be done, and there isn't a let's say an army of individuals doing the outside work and getting it all done. So it's hard to find time to do that. But we're looking to, as soon as winter breaks, we're going to start doing some of those. We're actually going to go out to the beach, and we're actually going to do some close quarter combat videos.
And I'll be happy to post them if you want me to. That's what I'm hoping. Yeah, no doubt.
But we definitely want to start talking about things, attire, different types of boots, the difference between forest boots, jungle boots, all-terrain boots. It just really depends on what you're looking at. There's so many different things we want to talk about and that we want to get into here at the property, and we're hoping that it will spur thought and thought process as to what's going on your property. And that's where this all really boils down, is that we need to be both physically prepared and mentally prepared. The Charlie really, the whole radio broadcast, we are definitely handling the mentally prepared. We are trying very hard to mentally prepare everyone. I still wonder how much physical preparation is going along to support mental.
Well, I'm huge. I know that. I'm a huge individual. I'm a force to be reckoned with. Eric Lovely, thank you very much. Great information. I do appreciate it. I know I'm playing light here a little bit of it, but I do appreciate you coming on and sharing that with this guy. Stay tuned. We're going to be back in a few minutes with Adrian Salbuche of Argentina. Lots and lots to talk about with Adrian. We haven't had him on for a month or so, so stay tuned. We'll be back in a few.